Ready to make your Mint desktop look cool and flashy like a flaming new hot rod? Well, this video is all for you. We're about to spice things up and teach you how to customize your Linux Mint desktop to look amazing.
Free your mind.
So this is the part that everyone loves most dearly about Linux. It's one of the greatest benefits that's been around since its inception, since the desktop was a wee lad growing up and exploring his own world. This is going to be dedicated to the customization of Linux Mint. And this is going to be everything from the icons to the toolbar to the placement of the toolbar to the desktop itself, the appearances. We're going to go through all of that right now. So let's begin with the simplest one. We covered this a bit in the opening videos, the first couple of videos, but we're going to right click on the desktop and go to change desktop background. And that's just going to be a quick shortcut to open up the backgrounds window. So from there, this is pretty standard that most people are familiar with. If you want to choose from a collection of wallpapers from previous releases of Linux Mint, you can select these in the left-hand column here. And then if you want to change the wallpaper, you simply left-click any of the pictures in this area, and it's going to change it by default. So I'm going to stick with Machu Picchu because that just looks cool. I love this look. And I love the trees and the green and the woods, and it's fantastic. So I'm going to go with that. Okay, so one of the things that I personally like to do, and I'm going to give you a couple of my personal favorite things, but you can do this however you want. This is just showing you, again, some of the cool things that are possible. For me, I actually put the panel at the top. I am not a panel at the bottom guy. Ever since this feature was available in the earliest releases of Ubuntu, I have loved having the panel at the top. That's just me. So how I do that is I right click on the panel down here and I go to Modify Panel. And it gives me a couple of options, and the easiest thing to do is to click on Move Panel. And you'll see three options appear. I can, on the left, the top, and the right. And you see the text here, select new position of the panel, or you could press the escape key to cancel. I'm going to hover my mouse up to the top, and you'll see the color slightly shift from a lighter red to a darker shade of red, and then you can left click it to confirm your choice. And now the panel is on the top. There you go, and that looks very dashing and sleek up there. Another thing I like to do personally is I like to have the option to auto-hide the panel, because when I'm using it, I like to have my window space available to me. I like to be able to work with my main Windows full screen without needing to hit a key to go full screen. I don't need to see these icons regularly. I don't need to see the clock. Most of these things I don't need to do unless I'm actually switching windows, which I personally rectify by just hovering my mouse up to the top, and then this top panel appears and I can switch my windows from there. Now, it doesn't have to be this way. Again, I'm just showing you what's available. So you can right click and go to Panel Settings, and you're going to see a couple of options appear for the panel. In this case, Panel Visibility is the first one, which gives you a chance to auto hide it. So if you want to always show it, or if you want to auto hide or intelligently hide, which means that it will stay visible up until you move a window towards it or in its place. So now if I move this panel window up into the space where the panel is, you're going to notice how it automatically hides itself. So if I maximize this window, it's going to make the panel disappear, and I can now hover my mouse over it like that. And that's how I would make the panel appear, simply by hovering my mouse over it to the top edge of the screen here. So I'm going to switch it back to Always Show Panel just so I can keep it the default. If you want to change the height of the panel, for if you want smaller or bigger icons, you can change that here in the panel height. You can left click and scroll to the left and to the right, And you'll notice how it's automatically resizing the panel up at the top. This can be anything all the way down to as small as 20 to as large as 60 pixels. So it can get pretty big, and again, this is all depends on your preference. Their standard is 40, and for now I'm just going to leave that the way it is. So you can play with all of these options and just dial it in to find out exactly how you like the panel to look. This is one of the things I really love about Linux Mint, and eventually what drew me away from Ubuntu, which is the Linux distribution, the version that this is based off of. I chose to use this as my daily machine, my daily operating system, because I liked the customization features that were available for the panel out of the box that you just didn't have in the GNOME desktop, which is the one that Ubuntu uses now for its desktop version. You can customize it still, but frankly, I like the fact that these are all right here. They're ready to go as soon as you install your machine, that you have plenty of options, and they all work, and they were designed to work with Linux Mint. There's no issues or compatibility issues. So that's one of the reasons I love this operating system and I love teaching people about it, is because this is really designed with the user in mind. It's designed to be familiar, but also to be flexible, again, out of the box. So let's continue on with our customization adventure. We're going to open up the Mint menu and just type in the word theme. And you're going to see the themes option appear. You can left click that or hit the enter key, whichever you prefer. And that's going to open up the themes window. So you're going to see, again, this is very easy to use, very user-friendly. The first one at the top here is going to be the window borders. So left clicking these buttons here are going to show you a list of options for what they can look like. So you can go with the more traditional version of Mint. This was one of the original looks of it, which was Mint X, which you would find in previous releases of Linux Mint. And then Mint Y is the name of their newest style, the contemporary, the modern style that you see that's installed by default. Or if you prefer the dark theme, again, out of the box, you have a dark theme that's available for your window borders. And the dark theme is available all across the board, so you can have a purely dark theme, which is actually what I personally use on my machine. So like the icons, for example, there are lots of icons to choose from, lots of color schemes specifically. So if you wanted to change it to, say, GNOME's default icons, you could do that. And you see now the desktop icons and the quick launch icons have changed. And so has every option here in the application menu. So nothing has changed about the program, simply the icons have been changed to that particular set. You can do the same by changing them to Mint X Red. And as you'll see, they've changed up here. And the same thing here. Or you can play around with these and you can really find what you prefer. There are two main things I want to point out here. Mint Y is the default icon set for your computer, and then there's Mint Y Dark. There's also Mint X up here and Mint X Dark. So one of the things I had to learn is that if you're using a dark colored window system or dark colored theme for your desktop, you're going to want to select one of these dark icons, because some of these icons are actually designed to contrast against a darker or black background. And that's going to help you sometimes if you're looking for something. Maybe there's a button up here, and then maybe the icon is a darker color because it's meant to contrast against this white background here of this window. Well, that's not going to work if you have a dark background. It's going to be hard to see and distinguish. So they made this particular icon set, anything with the word dark in it, which is going to work better in a dark theme. So the fun part that you'll get to see here is the controls. Left clicking on the controls opens up, again, another large array of different colors that you can choose from. I'll go to the one that I use by default, which is Mint Y Dark right here, and I'll left click it. And now you'll see we have this nice dark look where all of the buttons and the icons, they pop out at you, and the empty space isn't necessarily something that drags your attention anymore. The text is lightly colored, and now it's very easy to see what's being selected and what's being chosen. But you can change this to anything you want. You can, mint white, teal, and you'll see there's a teal color for the selected items. And hey, if you just want the conventional gray appearance, you can do that too. Linux Mint is all about choices. For now, I'm going to go with the dark look just for the rest of this tutorial. The mouse pointer, not too many options, just DMZ white and black. If you prefer to have a black cursor, again, which I do, you can change it to that. And then lastly, there's this desktop option right here. And that's mainly for the look of the panel itself. So you can change this, and you'll notice that, let's say if you want it to be the original cinnamon colors, and you'll see the panel up here changes. So now if you go to the clock and it shows the calendar, you'll see now there's a gray border, a light gray border, and then it's kind of transparent back here. And then the selected window has more of a gradient, or it's a different look like this, and that's what these are. These are different looks mainly for the Cinnamon desktop here. The same as with the application menu. You'll see it's changed quite a bit. It has this this border around it here, like just the subtle color characteristics have changed. And again, it's just all for the purpose of style. There's nothing functionally different about this. It's just if there's a better way that you want your computer to look. Some people like the light colored panel. So you can go click on Mint X here, and you'll notice that things have a much brighter color scheme. Now keep in mind, this is only changing the panel, the menu, anything to do with the Cinnamon elements, which are the elements for the Cinnamon desktop. You can see this hasn't changed the window border or the window controls or the icons. This desktop area only pertains to up here. So just for the sake of demonstration, I'll leave that the way it is. And if that wasn't enough, I feel like a car salesman or a TV salesman. I feel like saying, wait, but there's more. Yeah, there is more. So even check this out. If you want to add or remove even user-created themes, there are a list of online themes that you can download that have just been created by everyday users to even add more to the customization effect of Linux Mint. So if you like something, let's say there isn't an option here, you say, these are cool, I like these, they're kind of stylish, but I'm really looking for something different. And you look into the AddRemove tab over here. And let's say for example, you just want this one here, Granite 1, a dark gradient theme. Well, you can click on the download button right here and left click that, and that will download and install it. And you'll see the progress bar down at the bottom there. Once it's complete, it's not going to apply the theme. You're going to have to go back into the themes and click on desktop over here. So now you'll see there's a new option that's appeared. Graphite 1. I need to learn how to read. So left clicking that, and now you have this user created theme. So a lot of graphite. Okay, that makes way more sense now. Graphite, granite, jeez. So that's how you can use the AddRemove tab to look for new themes and install those to be used for in case you just want something completely different, completely you. Make Linux Mint you. Make it something that you would want to use, you enjoy using every day, because that's the benefit. You have these options. Let's say you want it to look more like Ubuntu. You can download the Ubuntu Touch theme. And then once that's done, you can change that and we can see what that looks like. And there you go. You have a nice, more transparent panel. So now it almost looks more like what contemporary Ubuntu looks like with the GNOME theme and its design. That's actually kind of nice. Okay, so I'm going to leave it this way here, again, for the sake of demonstration. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this. The only other things I really want to cover for the customization part of this video is more of tweaking the panel up here. So whether you have the panel here or on the left side or the right side or on the bottom, these things I'm about to show you are pretty universal for the panel. So you are able to, oh, by the way, if you do want to just go into the themes without having to use the application menu, you can right click on the panel up here at the top and just go to themes, and it's going to open up that same themes window that we were just in a moment ago. There you go. So right clicking on the panel, you're going to see panel edit mode. Now this normally throws people off at first, and this is why I'm going to cover it, because they don't know what this is and what this is all about. This is a toggle switch here, and when you left click this, you're going to see that it's enabled. And you're going to see a couple different areas appear in different colors. There's this red area here on the left, there's a green area here in the center, and there's a blue area here in the right. And this is a general placement guidelines for the different elements of Linux Mint. Now, you can customize these and put these wherever you want. When panel edit mode is enabled, you're able to move the elements of the panel to a different place. So let's say for whatever reason, if you wanted to left click and drag the menu, and you wanted to put it here in the center. Well, now the menu is going to be here. So when you press the window key or the super key, this is where the menu is going to open up. If you wanted to move it over to the right, you can left click and drag it over to the right here. And you can put it in between any of these icons here. And there you go. Now the menu's on the right. Okay, so I'm going to move that back to its default spot over here. But you can see you can do the same thing with any of these simply by left clicking and dragging. So you can drag them into the center area here or the left or the right. As you can see, if I try to drag it into a gray area here, it's going to show a black X where my mouse is, and that's just saying this option isn't available. Now, another big benefit to this is that you do have custom applets or apps that are available for the panel that you can download and put on there, put onto the panel itself. So first I'm going to actually turn off panel edit mode, and you're going to want to disable that. You'll know that panel edit mode is off when those three colors, red, green, and blue, disappear, and you're back to the normal appearance of Linux Mint. So right clicking and selecting add applets to panel will open up the applets window. Now again, applets are different apps or features that you can put onto the panel in order to give yourself extra features up there. So one of the things I like to do when I'm customizing my setup for my machines, Workspace Switcher is something I find really handy because I use a lot of applications open at once, and I like to organize them on different screens. And that's just me. Again, this is a customization benefit that works for myself and for many other users. Maybe you might find it great, maybe you might not find it great, but at least you'll get the chance to try it and try it out for yourself and figure out whether this is something that works for you. So to use this applet, you simply click the plus button at the bottom, and that's going to add it to the panel. So you're going to see now at the top right, there is this new area that's appeared, and this is going to show different workspaces like what we covered in the first video, where if I left click this, it now goes to the second workspace. So let's say if I open up a files window and I'm working on some files, and let's say I'm editing a new text file, and I've got this project going on over here. So now I'm editing this text file, but then you can see my windows are actually showing in this workspace here. This is showing what my desktop workspace looks like. So if I move this down to the bottom, you're going to see that move down to the bottom over here. And that kind of helps me remember what I'm working on and in which workspace. It's kind of a way for me to personally multitask my machine. So if I left click on workspace number 1, it goes back to the applets window, and this is the first workspace. So now let's say I want to move this to a different location. Well, I right click the panel, I go into panel edit mode and turn it on. And now I can left click this and drag it, and I can move this. I can move it to the center here if I wanted to. Or I personally, once I have everything set up, I actually move it right to the right of the Mint menu. And then I right click and I turn off panel edit mode. And now I have this feature right here. And then I normally right click on this here and I remove the current workspace because I only typically work with 2. And now it just gives me some extra space and features to work with while I'm using my computer. So you can play around with these yourselves. You'll find that some of these are already on here. A check mark will show that it's already on your panel. So in this case, the sound applet is what this is right here. So this icon here is the exact same thing as this. Same with the show desktop. The show desktop is right up here. If I had a flash drive installed on this or plugged into it, you would see a removable drives applet appear in the system tray in the top right here. So again, these are here for you to explore, to play around with, to find some use for. If you find there's something over here that you like and you say, wow, you know what, I could use this regularly. Well, good news. You can put it up here and now it's just a part of your everyday desktop experience for you to enjoy and to use. And if that wasn't enough, but wait, there's more. You can actually go to the download tab, and if it says this, that your cache is out of date, would you like to update it now? You can click on yes. And you can see, just like with the themes before, is that many users have created different applets that you can install, so there's even more features that you can install to your panel and to use. So let's say I wanted to make notes. Let's say I like this sticky notes applet that somebody programmed. So I can take this, left click it, and click on install here. It's going to download and install it. These are small bits of code, so they download and install very quickly. The check mark will tell me it's installed, it's ready to go. And I can go over to the Manage tab here and click on Sticky Notes at the top and click on the plus icon to add it to the panel. And there we go. You can now see a new icon up here. And if I left click that, it allows me to make some new notes. New notes. And it's showing up on the desktop. Remind people that Linux Mint is awesome. And there you have it. So again, these are just things you can play with and figure out how to customize to your comfort and to your performance and to suit your lifestyle needs. That's exactly what makes Linux Mint such an amazing free and open source desktop to use. So that about wraps it up for our customization part in this 7-part video series. I really appreciate you watching. Feel free to click the like button if you found this useful or meaningful in any way. I would really appreciate it. Also, if you want to see new content delivered regularly, please subscribe. We've got a really strong user base, and I'd love to have you added to that so that together we can grow and learn more in the world of free software. And there's a lot of exciting stuff up ahead. So feel free to proceed to the final video. That's one of the best ones. That's where I'm going to cover the most useful apps that are installed on Linux Mint by default, so that you can learn about the most useful apps in Linux Mint and how to make the most of this operating system and open source software. So thanks so much for watching. Feel free to go to the next video, and we will see you there.